Hello and welcome everyone, I'm C.S.Gilmore and this is Blueprints. I'm really torn here. I want the schoolroom so I can try for the classrooms, but I also want the shrine because I really want to get the one that lets me put rooms out here. So I think I'm going to go with the shrine again. Again, still haven't checked these. This still looks suspicious. Have I missed the opportunity to do that? I feel like I keep not getting the items I need to do that. But maybe I keep forgetting to come out here too once I do get those items. I'm trying to remember now. I get caught up in so many of the various puzzles and everything, I sometimes forget which ones I'm trying to work on because something else will pop up or I get distracted by another mystery that looms. Alright, library, that's a good start. I'll take the library. And a magnifying glass. Don't mind if I do. Okay. Let's see, is this one we've read before? No. Doesn't look like it. Drafting Strategy Volume 4. Tools of the Trade. Taking issue with inventory. In the world of drafting, the tools an architect wields are crucial in shaping their vision and bringing their designs to life. The precision, elegance, and functionality of these instruments can have a profound effect on the drafting process and the final outcome of your project. That's why it's very important to choose the right tools to complement your drafting techniques. In this issue of Drafting Strategy, we will dive into the vast realm of inventory, bringing to light the many hidden tools of the trade that can enhance your favorite strategies and elevate your architectural ambitions to unprecedented heights. From classic compasses and T-squares to state-of-the-art software upgrades, the variety of drafting tools available to architects today is staggering. As we navigate this diverse landscape, regardless of whether you are a seasoned professional seeking to refine your toolkit or a budding draftsman searching for a basic set of instruments, the following articles will provide invaluable insights and guidance for architects of all levels. The Guiding Compass, an introduction to drafting items. Gems. You can't have a conversation about drafting items without starting with gems. These valuable stones allow architects to draft special floor plans. Stopwatch. Very short-term alternative to paying gem costs is utilizing a stopwatch to bypass any gem costs you encounter during a frantic 1-minute drafting dash. I've only ever seen that in... Actually, have I ever seen that in my own gameplay? I've seen it in someone else's gameplay once, and the only time I've ever seen it spawn is in the clock tower. Emerald Bracelet. Of course, if you are wealthy enough to be able to afford to purchase it from the showroom, this very high-end luxury item removes the gem cost of special floor plans altogether. Repellent Spray. But why remove gem cost when you can just remove the whole room? Repellent Spray can free you of that annoying floor plan for up to a week. I've never seen Repellent Spray. I have no idea how that would work, but I guess that's one way to say I really don't want to see this room for a long time, and it sounds like it keeps it away for a week of in-game play. It could be a lot depending on... that could go badly depending. Ivory Dice. Dice are a resource that allow you to re-roll for new floor plans while drafting. Brass Compass, a useful drafting tool that adjusts the orientation of floor plans. If a room has another exit, it will have a high chance to lead north. Silver Key. The orientation of floor plans matters a lot less when rooms have tons of doors. Silver Key all but guarantees that your draft will result in a room with enough doors to ensure that they lead where you want them to go. Gear Wrench. I haven't seen that in a while. The first item that can adjust the rarity of floor plans is in the draft pool, although it only works on mechanical rooms. It's a useful tool for customizing your experience. That could be very useful later if I need to... If it is the mechanarium that we have to get all 8 rooms in, which means we have to have a ton of mechanical rooms, we're going to want to find a way to increase we'll go on to lower the rarity of mechanical rooms for one. There we can. And then we're also going to want to get the mirror room, probably, to make sure we have double of them in order to improve our chances of gain 8. But I honestly don't even know if that's where the last key is or not. That last sanctum key is really giving me a puzzle. Ornate compass, another luxury item from the showroom, and likely the most useful drafting tool on this list. Ornate compass allows you to rotate floor plans as you draft them, allowing you to position doors to your advantage. Glue, grease, and cuts. Crafted from the depths of resourcefulness and innovation, contraptions are makeshift creations born from the fusion of two or more distinct tools. Through soldering, taping, and a liberal amount of hot glue, inventors can use the workbench found in the workshop to bring together disparate elements to forge something far greater than the sum of its parts. Blind experimentation is often the most rewarding avenue for true innovators, but for those crafters who need a bit of inspiration or guidance, we have included a list of common contraption components to kickstart your creative journey. Alright, this is actually good because there's a couple items I'm not certain on what I... Alright, I know I'm pretty sure the Lucky Rabbit's Foot is a component, but I'm wondering if that's what the question mark is. Coin purse, one contraption. Magnifying glass, one contraption. I know that one. Battery pack, 3 contraptions. I don't know if I know all 3 of those. Metal detector 3, shovel 3. Am I missing one? I'm not sure if I know all 3 of what some of those are. Lockpick kits? I think I know that one. Yeah, I think I've done that one. Broken lever, I know that. Compass. I don't think I've done anything with the compass. So I need the compass, the coin purse, and I think the rabbit's foot, but I'm not sure. Alright, I definitely have to get more workshop work done. It's about time for an upgrade. Perhaps the most exciting item an architect can come across is an upgrade disk. This floppy data disk houses a wellspring of unique architectural plans designed explicitly for a specific room. By inserting the disk into a computer terminal, architects gain the ability to shape the destiny of a room. Guided by the enticing designs contained on the disk, this myriad of options not only allows architects to craft floor plans they align with their preferred strategies, but also enable them to adapt their creations to evolving project requirements. Furthermore, the upgrade disk's array of plans ensures that no two architects will follow the same path, fostering a landscape of diverse architectural designs. Yeah. Pretty sure we've seen all of those. Tooltips. Stringing together adjoining hallways has always been the most straightforward strategy when using a hall pass. Drafting floor plans like tunnel and secret passage are an easy way to set up longer chains of hallways. You know, I haven't really done anything with hall pass. Barely got in a hall pass without the main department, but yeah. You can adjust the settings in the terminal located in security to make security doors more or less common. If you have found a key card, it is worth changing these settings to high. If you haven't, you may want to set them to low. Well done. If the watering for the endeavoring gardener, a watering can is a fundamental tool, but did you know you can refill this item with water? All you need to do is find a faucet with running water. I've done that once before, so yeah, okay. Most green rooms can only be drafted along the edges of your house, and the secret garden is no exception. You can use this key on any locked door leading to one of these room positions. If you have come across any fancy ruby-socketed candlesticks, you may want to take note in case you can find an item that can produce a flame. These specific candlesticks contain mechanical triggers that are tripped when the candle is lit. Yep, I think I've gotten all of them that I've found. I don't remember anywhere else that I haven't found with those. Tools are cool, but they are only as good as the architect who harnesses their capabilities. As you finish reading this issue of Drafting Strategy, I want you to open up your menu and look at your inventory. Take a moment to look at each item and contemplate the true potential they all hold. The same potential you see there is the same potential that resides within yourself. For it is not the tools themselves that will sculpt the grand structures and monuments of tomorrow, but the deft hands and brilliant minds of architects like you. Nice words of encouragement. Alright. Yes, I was hoping for that. Bookshop. Yeah, I can work with that placement. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I have 2 here. I have enough. I definitely want to get a new clue because I'm sure that's going to have some new clues in it. I would hope. But the Curse of Black Bridge. I've heard this is how you actually unlock Curse Mode. The curse I got from the shrine before apparently is kind of like how Curse Mode is, but it's not Curse Mode from my understanding. I've never actually seen Curse Mode itself, so but my understanding is it once we do get the Curse of Black Bridge and read it, we can activate Curse Mode, and it works much like Dare Mode. You have to open up a new save slot. Either way, we're grabbing it. Because I know I have enough coins now, and hopefully I can get enough coins to get the other book available, because that would be nice. Ooh, workshop already. Alright, alright. What have we got in the workshop? Ah, coin purse. I don't know what I need to make out of you yet. Not anything that I have a combo for right now. Got it. Okay. You continue our search. Let's do that. That'll give me a few more gems. Give me some areas to dig, hopefully to get a key. Nope. No way to open that right now. What do I need? Going that way. This would be a good opportunity to get a indoor nursery. Ah, okay, we've got the night field shovels. That, okay. That makes sense, that makes sense. Any other items in here right now? Shame. Okay. Not going quite in the direction I need. Let's go with the corridor. Don't want to waste the secret passage here, because that would just not work with that. Let's do the hallway, and then the den would let me get left and right more. Tempting either way, because it's tempting to go up to the foundation, also tempting to get more to the side. We'll go with that. Alright. The garage would definitely give me keys, but it would also immediately cut off my whole purpose of coming over here. Do I do it? Do I not? Do I do it? Do I not? Let's do the break room. I'll also get a key out of there, and it continues without blocking off my passage. Alright. 20. 15 minus 15 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Times 13 is still 0. Plus 1 is 1. Alright. Negative 12. Plus 20 is 8. Times 2 is 16. Sick. Alright, that works for me. Less so, but... Alright, well... Parlor, I guess I could use the gems. It'll open up more opportunities for me going in the other directions. Both statements on the blue box are true. The blue box contains gems. The second statement on the black box is false. The black box contains the gems. Okay, that sounds plausible. Every statement with the word blue is false. I think that's false. I'm pretty sure it is. This one is true, so the black box contains gems. Yes. Alright. Don't need to do anything with that. We're good. Good. Don't have that. Yeah. This way then. Ooh, conference room or security? Conference room has a better chance of going there, but the security would let me activate the experiment. I still have a long way to go with those annoying... Well, with those annoying boxes blocking that passage. Keycard system. Let's first deal with this. I do want to set that to low. And back. We'll set this to unlocked, just in case it plays out that way. View the inventory. One trunk. Yep, that's right. Alright, log into network. Remote. Laboratory. Yes, I would like to go to the laboratory. Alright, experiment setup. Continue. Increase lock, okay. Small trusty entrance. Permanently increase lock. Permanently add 1 gold to your allowance. Out of the options here, I would like to increase my allowance, I guess. Whenever you spend 2 or more gems, draft your room. Each time you unlock or bypass a security door for each room with a fireplace you draft. You know, I haven't really tried this one. What's the likelihood of that? Drafting studio, that one. Dining hall. You know, let's see it. I think it has a chance. And away we go. Alright, that goes in the direction I want. Plus it'll give me more stars. We gotta get back up to my restock. That's good, that's good, that's good. Result. That means the sale in the bookstore. I only have to get 25 coins now in order to get that one. That won't work on that. I'll use my key on that, I guess. Tempting. I want the options for right now. Really wish I could find a sledgehammer. This. Live with that. What are you kitties doing over there? Okay, what is the odds then? What are the odds? Set that to low. That means 2 to 3 of these. And there's 2 of them on the same door. Or same room. Guess I'm going a different route for the moment. Where else can I go? I am really low on options. That is not good. I have to get more keys or I'm toast. That won't help. That won't help. That won't help. Kitchen laboratory. Which one's most likely to give me something I can work with? There's has items in here, I think. Checking. I don't know what to do with that. Fortunately, I don't see the items in here. Forge won't help. Do the weight room. Nice shield. That's why I saved it. I'll open this just in case. Check that. Commissary. Nook would give me a key and not did it. Okay. Commissary may or may not have had keys, so this is my safest way. Don't really want to burn my gems right now. Hallway, I guess. Yeah, okay. Or not hallway, closet. Blech. Alright, pays off okay. I'm happy with that. Still what I need there. Gotta go up to this. That is not ideal. Retry. Still not ideal. Let's do spare room. That should give me some clearance, at least, to work with. That could work. It's not what I'd really like. Okay, if I do the bedroom. Bedroom doesn't use my 2 gems right now. Not ideally what I'm looking for here. Of course it's not locked. How would that room be locked? That was the room I could use. Cool, I guess. Alright. Wait a minute. Before I put that there, how about this other door? The direction would be important. Yeah, this one's better. Secret guarded. Gem. Nice. Okay, that opens all those. At least that's done. Even though I have a low chance of getting up there, it could be good if I do. Locked. No. That would dead end me. But okay, my best bet is commissary right now. Keys are not going great this way. Sledgehammer. That might be what I need. Can't really afford any of the others. I can work with this. I can work with this. Where were those? I have, what, 2 trunks? Lock trunk there. I'm sure I had another one somewhere. Got those 2 in there, but I can't do anything with them. So, car keys. I don't have a garage though, so that doesn't help. That doesn't necessarily help right now, but gives me a couple more rooms I can try. Alright. Not really good for what I need. This will do, I suppose. Come on. Give me a bit more. If I could get the vault right now, would be ideal. Not likely, though, I know. Cost has been raised. Yes, this one does indeed have that. So that works. Cool. What was that other one? What's another trunk around here? Which room was this? Courtyard? Probably the courtyard. Ooh, a green apple. I remember seeing those before. That's kind of cool. Thank you. I can work with that. And that. There should be some gems in here for me. Thank you. Okay, we're getting a little low on steps, which isn't great. I'm still short on coins. As long as I'm careful about this, maybe I could... Part of me wants to just end the day right now in the bookshop. I mean, I could just spawn it outside next day. I should have enough coins in my allowance to make this work. Okay, well, let me do a check here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've been risking it. Don't know if I want... Is there anything I'm really getting close to getting here today? Not really. Not that I know of, anyway. I can't guarantee I'd find enough fruit for anything. Anything I can combine here? No. 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 Alright. Yeah, no, I think my best bet is to get that other book, is to end the day here right now. We will call it a day. I think that's a better time use and just use of everything else to ensure we get closer to our goal of getting what we need. Because I definitely want the new clue book, and I want to read that the Curse of Blackbridge book as well. Get curse mode unlocked, assuming that is that I had heard is correct about that. And also, I bet it has some useful information in it regardless. So, yeah, let's do that. Bookstore, here we go. Knock, knock. Schoolhouse is really tempting me today, but I don't think the bookshop is currently my target. A new clue. We're good. We're done. That's all of the new. That's all the books we can purchase. Sold out in hours. Lasting in addition, a new clue will be going to Lasting Hope, a nonprofit organization. Anything new here? Lasting Hope. New clue. Unintentionally accurate. Regards to their opinions, fans, pundits, and cynics alike were saying together. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's everything we need. Now we just have to get the library. Just get one of those new books ordered. Conservatory. Don't mind if I do. I have a bit of a need to do some adjusting on some things. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Library. I'll drop that down to standard or common. Now make it common because it also has the bonus of discover less common floor plans while drafting in the library. So it could help me with other plans while also continuing whatever I need there. This one isn't a bad room. It does give me another access to the opening for the room 46, so I don't necessarily need it. Just change this down to unusual. Commissary. I don't really see a need to change that one. Unfortunately, the library is the only one really there that I felt like to really benefit from changing. Conference room early on is generally a good one, as it gives us access to a lot of stuff. Yes, yeah. Okay. Library. There you are. I do want to get into the greenhouse too, as there's still a breakable wall in there I have not managed to break yet. Probably has something cool in it. There is still a breakable wall in that greenhouse that I have not managed to get in. But right now, the library is priority because we know there's some good stuff here we want. Do I want a new clue or the Curse of Blackbridge first? I think the Curse of Blackbridge. I really do want a new clue as well, but the Curse of Blackbridge has my interest in that it is like I don't know. It just seems more interesting for me in general. Ah, okay. Observatory or mailroom? Let's do the mailroom. Get a new freight package on its way. The hope there would be that, yeah, 3 days from now we get some good stuff. I think that'll be worth it in the long run. This one. Could use more keys. Now we get out of here, right around here. Like no items right now. But that's okay. You all heard that, right? Does that make that noise every time the duplicate is drawn? Or, yeah, I'm not sure. But that sounded strange. Duplicate, duplicate. Well, they actually do go out the window. That's cool. They're going through the various hatches. Huh. Does this change up anything major when it's facing the other direction? Oh, don't mind if I do. Does this change anything? Rooney made it home safely. Some treats and rest. School is going well. I miss you terribly. Unfortunately, even though the dean gave me permission to keep my birds here on campus, I'm afraid it's getting a bit too cold. Some more letters soon. Fifth letter. Yeah, okay, this is all the same. Nor the something to want. Ah, nice. Now, let me see if I can get a room with a terminal here before I pop anything else open. Armory goes in the direction I need it to. Don't have enough points for any of those. That gives me more options. Come on, I need a room with a option of giving me something I can actually work with. Just room to connect those. Drawing room. Maybe not the best placement for it, but it's viable. Redraw. Kennel might be good, but kitchen might be better. Sure. Kennel. Oh. So where are you up for egg? No dog in the middle area this time. It's all the same. Alright. Patio, sure. A stays dug up. Interesting. Alright, yeah, if I could get a room with a computer terminal and get the each time you dig option, that would be great right now. Security. There we go. I can work with you. Except right on with you. Well. Security door. One there. Let the hall pass through again. You will not lose steps while traveling between two adjoining hallways. Hallways drafted from the adjoining hallway do not cost gems. Okay, that was. Alright, alright. Nothing else in here. Right. Hmm. I haven't done the mechanarium in a long time, but I don't have any mechanical rooms really right now, so that would be worthless. Can't get that. I think it would be worth it. I guess we'll find out. It has one room and goes to there. Okay. Leads to nothing, I suppose? And... well... oh. I am not having the best of luck on a few of my draws here. I got the gem out of there. Could go into the foundation and try going by. Actually, let me leave that for the moment. Another trigger. I can't remember if I had evidently an apple as a potential trigger. Need the key, never mind. You know what? I'll just grab that now just to save on a few steps. Since I'm apparently gonna have to backtrack a piece. So I can work with this. Don't have a gem. May spend gems to redraw floor plans. Doesn't help me. That. This may be the end of our run. Here pretty quick though, because I only have a couple more options. Right. Dark room, nursery. This is the dark room. Please be the one I need. No. That was worth a shot. Still work with this, I suppose. Still have a gem now, so that's good. Okay, if I go back up to the foundation, I now have a key. Let's try this. Ah, that also makes things easier. Okay, I can work with that. That is definitely helpful. More room. Take a right. Take a left. Running out of steps though, which is not great. Hopefully I can make this happen. So far, let's do this. Need some more redraws that might help me to get a room I need to try to run the experiment at least. Parlor, sure, that'll be good there actually. Parlor says blue box has at least one true statement, the white box has at least one true statement. The gems are in the blue box. The gems are in a box with two statements that is true. Actually, this sounds right. So, okay. Oh wait, I forgot. There's always has to be supplies. So. Maybe too tired to be thinking about this. Could do that. Not ideal. But no, because then if I do get the room I want, then it won't help me. Fine. Maybe it's the one I need. That is not the one I need. Alright. Let's activate this. Set this to there. Nope. Alright, lock door, lock door, lock door. I just opened that one. Okay, I screwed that up. But that's okay. We'll make it work. What would be the best way to do this? Shame I didn't get into the antechamber to test that. Hey, I have a way to do that. No, I don't have any way to get into it. Oh, I should have done that. I didn't think of it. I had done the half steps. The kind of there that. Too late. Okay, which room do I want? I could make the library. Okay, do I have enough steps to get to the library? 18. I think that might be my best bet. Let's do it. Let's do that. Oh wait, I could always stick around, maybe get lucky and find a key. It's unlikely though. And even then my step economy is not great for what I want. Now I think my best bet is to get the library. At least that way I have a chance of getting one of the books I want sooner. Alright. We'll go on the track, yeah. No. Yep, no keys anyway so far. Okay, we're here. We have our book selected. Call it a day. Okay. Save and continue. Let's do this. I've got just enough time to do one more quick, hopefully a quicker run rather than a longer one in some cases. But, well, if I do a longer run, it'll hopefully be because we're doing some amazing progress, and then it'll be worth it in that way. Alright. Have my coins. So much allowance. Great. Let's go in here. Library. Ooh, actually, have I looked around in the library any time out here? I don't know if I have. Anything different? There's my book. Key. Okay. Check the book out in a minute. Sorry. Just want to make sure there isn't anything majorly different out here because of how they tend to do that every once in a while with a few of these rooms. It's always worth a peek around. See if anything sticks out weird. East Wing Hall, Study, Planetarium. Yeah. Okay. There we go. The Curse of Black Bridge by Redford Uling. Forward. The legend of Black Bridge is one that's well known to the people of the Grand Realm, for versions of this tale have been passed down from generation to generation. Second, I want to get my camera ready, just so I can go. Here, see it? With each new telling, the story has changed, becoming over the years more colorful, more verbose, and as one might expect, increasingly horrifying. However, with so many renditions and unique personal touches, the task of confining and binding this tale to text seemed an ambitious and impossible challenge. Over the course of my research, I have heard dozens of variations of the legend, and while the details would often change, I was surprised how much of the story's heart remained the same. Yet the more I listened, the clearer it became that there could never be a definitive version of this tale capable of capturing all the wonder and myth of Black Bridge. In the end, I chose to write down what felt most authentic, the story my grandfather told me as a boy, long ago. Part 1. The Berry Picker from Horace. Many years ago, before peace had become a familiar word, there lived a group of rogues so wayward that the locals deemed it appropriate to call their number the Unholy Hounds. They were feral outlaws composed. Oh, hang on a second. Battery. No, not battery. Camera just be here. They were feral outlaws composed of society's worst in a time when society was at its worst, and for each crime that fearful travelers credited to the group, a dozen more lay unclaimed, each worse than the last. For the gentry, however, who often value their coffers more than their companions, no crime could measure more wicked than the group's primary enterprise, high road robbery. One such member of this so-called band of rogues was a boy of 13 years, Jesper, who had not been lucky in life, having lost two brothers to war and parents to famine. In the years of hunger that followed, Jesper lived in a gutter behind a churchyard, relying on the nourishment of scurrying bugs and weeds harvested from the cracks of the alleyway to sustain his pitiful existence. It is not surprising that a child aiming to escape such hardships would take any easy road out, an easy and well-traveled road, paved with temptations leading out of the city and into the gentry lands where loose purse strings entwine with the strands of salvation, and glisten equally with the hope of opportunity. It was this road that eventually led Jesper to the end of his youth, a hidden cave at the bottom of Black Bridge Canyon. It was here that he met his surrogate family and saviors, that notorious gang of godless outlaws known as the Unholy Hounds. Okay. Despite the hardened circumstances that led him to this fake vocation of banditry, Jesper was surprisingly tender-hearted and was often teased by the group for being too kind. for such an ignoble life. For this reason, Jesper was assigned the innocent role of berry picker. It was not just innocence that set berry picking apart from the gang's more wicked undertakings, for it was the only duty performed without the safety of night's concealment. Jesper, no stranger to solitude, did not protest that he alone worked while the others slept soundly, tucked away in the cave at the bottom of Black Bridge Canyon. On one such occasion, Jesper decided to get an early start. He left the cave, berry basket in hand, and set out into the woods before the morning sun had even brushed against the tallest treetops. It was colder in the mornings, but the headway dawn afforded meant Jesper could reach the furthermost berry patches without worrying of being chastised for tarrying upon his return. It took over 3 hours on foot to reach his destination, and along the way Jesper had passed by many a familiar bush, all priorly pillaged, and so bereft of berries that one would have to dedicate several moments in earnest examination before finding a single one. Jesper was patient, but even patience has its limits. He was confident that even accounting for the time lost to this long stretch of travel, his efforts would be well worth the pains. Surveying the patches in this new grove surprised even Jesper. The red dots suspended among the leaves seemed as numerous as stars in the skies. Upon seeing such a bounteous sight, he clutched his berry basket tightly and nearly toppled over out of joy. Once he had regained his senses, Jesper quickly made a decision. He would not reveal the location of this newfound treasure. Instead, he would earn the respect of his confederates, who, upon seeing his yield, might attribute the success to hard work. Smiling at his plan, Jesper set off to fill his basket, but was making steady strides in this task when the sound of thundering hooves interrupted him. A carriage! A carriage is approaching. The thought of it made Jesper freeze. Had he been so enchanted by his discovery that he had neglected to observe his surroundings? How could a roadway be so close? He ducked down and crept toward the impending sound, hiding behind one of the larger bushes nearby. It was only a moment before the sound's source revealed itself. Within 50 paces of where Jesper hid, an elegant carriage with gold trim came soaring around a corner of trees, led by two beautiful white horses and conveyed by a stern-looking driver, seated atop the vehicle, flaunting the most sophisticated regalia Jesper had ever seen. It was not just any carriage, it was a royal carriage. Even without ever having witnessed such a sight before, Jesper was certain. The sight had so transfixed Jesper that he stood awestruck, unable to tear away as the carriage approached. The little concealment the bush provided was soon proven unequal to the driver's lofty perch, and upon spying the boy he pulled the reins with such effect that the noble steed slid to a sudden halt with precise control. "You, boy, get out from behind that bush," he shouted with a rigidity that betrayed a modest amount of fear. "You startled me half to death, coming round the bend of my own drive, and me seeing such an unfamiliar face in a place where there ought not to be any face." Jesper quickly contemplated running. The man was much older, and his dress was suitable for courtlier behavior. Not dashing through the bramble and mud, I was picking berries. Jesper raised the half-filled basket up to allow the driver to see the proof of his words. The demeanor of the man suddenly changed. It was a change that Jesper was familiar with. He had many times seen the same stern expressions on the most fiendish bandits melt away when presented with a berry basket. Any suspicions that the driver might have had instantly evaporated, for even the notion of a member of the unholy hounds picking berries seemed farcical. Farcical? The softened expression even made allowances for a smile. "Berries, eh? Say, you couldn't have picked a better spot for them, could you? I used to pick berries here as a boy." Jesper took his cue to finally step forward out from behind the bush, proudly brandishing his basket. "I know, and what luck I found them. I have only just begun picking, and look how many I have. It would have taken me fourfold the time back home to procure this number." And the driver bent down for a closer look. "And where is your home, boy? It must be quite far." Jesper replied with a scripted response. "A little south of Tanner Fork, just past the burnt woods." "My God, that is far. You couldn't have come all that way only this morning." It was true, Tanner Fork was in the exact opposite direction that Jesper had traveled, and while that response would seem perfectly reasonable in a location closer to Black Bridge Canyon, he could see why it might seem less believable here. Sir, I have travelled much further for much less profit. I dare say there is no distance yet made by man that would not be worth undertaking for a prize such as these. Surely you have tasted them for yourself. Jasper felt happier with this response, as it seemed to amplify the man's smile. In my youth, often, but perhaps I took it for granted because I never had to travel very far, and even then, my father would always drive us here in our carriage. So I am ashamed to. I never had to walk such a stretch to earn an equal reward. It was Jesper's time to smile. Then let my efforts reward us both today. He raised the basket even higher. A taste in memory of your youth, sir. I forgot to take a picture of that one. Sorry. I just have. With how this game has been, I'm so paranoid now about not being able to access some crucial piece of random information when I need it the most. Okay. The driver chuckled and removed one glove, bending over the seat to reach down to the basket, and at the moment his fingers touched the first berry, the dagger in turn met his throat, cutting through a superficial layer of skin and drawing blood. Jesper caught the man's startled eyes, and for that taste I will have your purse, sir, in memory of my youth. The driver's arm had gone stiff, his chin raised and trembling, more frightened than he had ever been before. Whether unable or incapable of speaking, he did not respond to the boy. Perhaps he did not think his jaw could afford to be engaged at this particular time. Jesper let the basket drop, freeing his other hand to probe the man's pockets. Do not mistake me, sir. I will not kill you if you give me no cause. Though I will admit, the thought of taking your carriage and leaving you the indignity of walking appeals to me. Unable to find a purse in the man's coat, Jesper pivoted to search the seat under him. Why have you no purse upon your person? The driver slowly raised his hand cautiously, pointing toward the carriage door behind him. Jesper lowered the knife's edge a small degree to allow the man to speak, which he did in turn softly. There's a lock box in the carriage. Well, come down then and grant me the courtesy of sparing your life and binding your hands. A concession, I assure you, of my tender heart, for it would be much easier to slit your throat. The man started to comply, slowly lowering himself from the driver's seat of the carriage. Once down, Jesper guided him away from the carriage to a nearby tree where he instructed him to get on his knees and put his hands behind his back. Excusing his inexperience, the man indulged Jesper while he figured out how to adequately bind him. The smile and kindness Jesper had seen on this man's face, now nothing more than a distant memory. In their place, cold dark eyes displaying no emotion. I wonder, should I grant you the same clemency you are showing me? Jesper stopped, surprised by the question, but ignored it. Secured the final bindings, and then hastily returned to the carriage. With one hand on the door's handle, he turned back to the man. If there is no lockbox, there will be no clemency. Inside the carriage was surprisingly dusty and unswept, a stark contrast to the elegant and polished golden facade of the exterior. It had apparently been many years since a passenger had enjoyed passage in this vehicle. This all but confirmed what Jesper had suspected. The driver of this carriage was not a liveried servant in the employ of some greater master. Any curiosity that this observation might have further produced was quickly abandoned upon seeing what rested under the carriage's back seat, a large wooden lockbox. Despite its hefty appearance, the box was surprisingly easy to handle. Within a few minutes, Jesper had dislodged it from its hold and carried it out into the sunlight. Inspecting the box carefully, two observations were made. Totemic symbols, found carved on all four sides of the box, hinted that the box was very old, and likely not created by Orindian hands. It reminded him of artifacts from the old world, and was presumably crafted in one of the ancient realms. Sorry, for a second there I thought that might have been the box that we saw in the outside treasure trove. This could be a clue to how to open it, though, still either way. Secondly, the box was secured by a rusted yet robust padlock. It would not open easily without a key. Jesper looked over to see the driver quietly observing from his indentured position. Do you perhaps have a key you can provide me to open this box? Without emotion, the driver replied, There is no key to that box. Jesper stood up. Easy enough, then. He headed over to a nearby rock of sizable dimensions and lifted the stone up, carrying it back to the box. If there was ever a time when that lock had been resistant to brute force, It wasn't recent. With one hit, the stone had completely shattered the rusted lock. He bent back down and opened the lid. Inside was an effigy, crude figure chiseled from stone. Without too much deliberation, Jesper bent down and picked it up, somewhat surprised how heavy it seemed, given how light the box had felt. Having expected to find something more akin to gold or gems, he looked questioningly to the man, hoping to find an explanation. The driver's smile once again returned. "You are cursed, boy, for deadly is the stone. You have opened that which should never have been opened, and you are cursed." Jesper carried the effigy over to the man and shoved it in front of his face. "What is it?" "That's one." Feeling his disappointment rising to anger now, Jesper tightened his grip on the effigy. "One what, you mumbling Ejantor? And in God's name, why have you no purse upon your person?" The man did not seem intimidated. "One pace," he paused for effect. 12 more and you will be dead." He only had a second to flinch before the effigy struck him in the head and put an end to his cryptic ramblings. If there was ever a time when the old man had been resistant to brute force, it wasn't recent. Seems like a bad way to approach things, but alright. Jesper looked down at the sculpted stone figure, now splattered red. Was it cursed? Was he cursed? He had, of course, heard stories of curses, and had never doubted their validity in the past, but now that he was standing face to face with the possibility of being cursed, his mind pleaded with him to be skeptical. And if he was cursed, what difference would the knowledge make? A dozen more paces would not be enough to find another living soul, to say nothing of the chances of procuring a remedy. If he did not move from where he now stood, he could live maybe another 3 or 4 days, maybe more given the abundance of nearby berries, a plan that, if we ignore its obvious faults, might provide additional opportunities for help to come along. But what good would that do to be discovered here? Beside a body, stolen goods in hand, bloated from berries, and raving about a curse that could very well not be real. No, it would most certainly be better to face one's fate now, take a dozen paces and see if life goes on. But Jesper found his legs unable to make that first step. His mind was unable to convince his limb to waste away 1/12 of his life in a single motion. Feeling the desperation sink in, he hopelessly looked about him for a solution, and if by some stroke of luck the gods had heard his plea, a miracle materialized before him as if he found himself suddenly at the end of a fairy tale. 2 white horses and a carriage of golden trim were beside him. The answer to his immediate prayers. He laughed at his fortune, and calculated the short number of paces back to the road. 4, perhaps only 3 if he jumped. He made a quick survey to see if there was anything he wished to grab before taking the plunge. He thought about removing the driver's fancy coat, as that appeared to be of some value, but the additional risk of undertaking such a task too great to chance, and so, after a profound breath, he took his second, third, and fourth steps, though they were quite large. Seated now behind the horses, he reached for the reins, and suddenly realized that he was still gripping the effigy. If the curse was real, then it would most certainly be better left here. If, on the other hand, the story was fictitious, there might be some appraisal that could be made of the figure. It was, after all, found within a lockbox, whose typical function often secures objects of value. Having witnessed firsthand the horrors of destitution, Jesper found his mind equally reluctant to allow his hand let go. If it is cursed, I die. If not today, then tomorrow, and if I die, what care have I? And with that statement said aloud to the horses seemingly, Jesper took up the reins with confidence. Part 2. Below the Black Bridge. This is a longer story. I was not expecting that. Miller awoke to some light nudging from a familiar foot. Only one person would have the cheek to awaken her in such ill-mannered fashion. Shaking the sleep from her eyes, she glared up at him in the darkness, but did not say a word. He nudged her again teasingly, then stepped back into the dim. After taking a moment for her eyes to adjust to the darkness of the cave, Miller remembered. She was on third watch today. Quietly collecting her things and wits, Miller turned as she left, waving to her young friend, who was more than likely already asleep. She crept through the cavern's main passage, careful to not wake the sleeping bandits around her. Like a hero in a book, she often mused. Quietly, she grabbed a bow from the haphazardly formed pile of weapons, shaking the accompanying quiver in the darkness to assess how many arrows it held. She then walked toward the sun-drenched mouth of the cavern, ready to start her shift. Above her, in one of the few trees found in the canyon, Miller could see that Ravia was already posted. She waved, and Ravia waved back. Calling out to each other was strictly forbidden. Anything louder than a gesture in the canyon was forbidden. When Miller reached the tree, Ravia lowered a braided rope and pointed to the ground behind her. Miller turned, following the finger, and saw a pail of water resting beside a nearby log. She turned back to Ravia, nodded, and secured the pail to the rope. The pail went up first, and in turn, Miller followed. Ravia reached across to grab the water. Miller leaned back to give her space. There was not much room for maneuvering in this tree post. Excuse me. A necessary concession for the concealment the outpost demanded. Ravia tilted the pail up to her mouth dramatically, illustrating how thirsty she had been. Miller laughed silently as water poured out, splashing onto Ravia's face. It was a bit too daring and noisy of a joke, and had the others been around, they would have certainly been scolded for the unwarranted sound. But Miller appreciated the efforts Ravia took to verbalize the silence of the morning. They had been on third watch together for over a month, and during that speechless time their friendship had grown into something special. Affection was unsurprisingly scarce among the unholy hounds. She had felt camaraderie before, of course, but intimacy never. From their elevated vantage, the girls could see both the concealed entrance of the cavern as well as a clear view of the bridge that spanned across the canyon. Black Bridge was the link between the Gentry lands and the northern mountains, the overpass that connected Oris and Reddington. To the city-faring travelers of the realm, the bridge was an unavoidable crossing. In the day, the task was to ensure that travelers passed by without stopping. At night, the task was to ensure that they do. Sorry, I just had a thought. He opened the casket. He opened the chest by hitting it with a rock. I'm trying to remember if, when I last saw that chest out in the outer trove, if I had a weapon like the sledge or not. I don't think I did. So I wonder if that's how that chest gets opened. If you have to have a sledge weapon or like the mace. I'm gonna have to think on that. Experimentations to be had. Alright, back to this. Like most of her band, Miller preferred the night. The biting glare of the sun might be tolerable to farmhands and bricklayers, but to cavern house bandit, it was a source of constant annoyance. In the day, there was no shroud to conceal her expressions nor to hide her thoughts. She felt exposed. Ravia touched her elbow and pointed up. Miller, striving to suppress a budding smile, subtly shook her head in response. There were many signs that the unholy hounds used in lieu of words, but the two of them had developed an extended vocabulary, gestures quietly forged in the shared solitude of their month among the branches. She watched as Ravia shifted, placing her palms flat on the floorboards beneath them. Miller knew what she was trying to say, but shook her head a second time. It was often more fun to pretend not to understand. Ravia rolled her eyes and turned away, looking back to the canyon, squinting through the leaves. The two girls held still, watching and listening. It was not long until Miller too heard the sounds of approach. Ravia held up two bent fingers, and a few moments later 2 men emerged from the bridge's southern end. They were dressed in familiar uniform, long gray coats with black facings, white waistcoats, and black tricorn hats. They belonged to the local patrol, the Black Guard. Although not an everyday occurrence, their presence at Black Bridge wasn't an unusual sight. It typically indicated an important traveler's impending passage across the bridge, information that the girls would promptly relay to their leaders as soon as the coast was clear. But this report, while exciting, was rarely acted upon. In Miller's 5 years in the Unholy Hound, she had never once seen a carriage taken in open daylight when the Blackguard was nearby. The men had nearly reached the bridge's north end when Miller heard the horses, faintly at first, but growing louder with each passing moment. Ravia's eyes met Miller's, the same concern mirrored in each other's expression. This did not sound like the typical carriage. Cautiously approaching the bridge to cross, Instead of the familiar crunch of the high road's gravel, they heard the harsh clattering of hoofbeats against stone. Both girls quickly redirected their attention downwards. Looking through the foliage, the sounds were not coming from the high road, but from the canyon itself. The horses were coming from below the bridge. In an instant, Miller had nocked an arrow and drawn her bow. Go! Bravio was gone before the whisper had even left Miller's mouth. The young scout was already sliding down the bank below, racing toward the cave. There was no road that ran below the canyon. There was no reason for numerous horses to be approaching their cave. There was only one reasonable conclusion, and both girls had reached it instantly. The base had been compromised. This was a blackguard attack. The moment the horses came into view, Miller let loose her first arrow. She was surprised to see a carriage. She had expected cavalry. Before she even finished processing that thought, her second arrow was in the air, without a trail. It would be unthinkable for a carriage to traverse such rough terrain, yet she watched as the wheels jolted over the rocky riverbed. A third arrow was now in flight, and there would be no need for a fourth. The driver slumped over just moments before the vehicle dipped into a small ditch, slamming it into an embankment. The force of this sudden halt immediately shattered the front two wheels and catapulted the driver from his seat. Utterly confused now, Miller quickly glanced over her shoulder to see if any horses were also approaching from the rear. Down in the canyon, the entire horde of the unholy hounds came spilling forth from the earth as if hell itself had suddenly sprung open. The group seemed even more bewildered than Miller, half asleep and tripping over one another in a desperate attempt to engage an unseen enemy in combat. Miller could see Ravia among their number, the only one looking up at her. Her expression was chilling. There would be no need for a silent gesture to convey what they both now realized. They had made a mistake. The gang's chieftain, Joffrey Heartslasher, led the others, cautiously approaching the crashed carriage like a suspicious fox would near a baited trap. There were no words exchanged as the group crept forward in customary silence. A dozen or so paces in front of the wreckage lay the far-flung driver, an arrow protruding from his broken body, and beside him a blood-stained effigy carved from stone. Miller was inconsolable. Jesper had always been her favorite. He had always shadowed her in the night, clinging to the hems of her every move. The way a child tails behind an older sibling, tender-hearted, she had always called him, though deep down she had known that it wasn't quite true. His appearance of gentleness concealed a raw, resilient durability that emerged in the most perilous of situations. He had been a flower among the nettles of this cave, but he still had thorns, honed by a grim past and 100 hands of misfortune. They buried him in the darkness in the back of one of the larger cavern rooms. He was interred with a berry basket and a silk handkerchief that he had treasured. The mysterious effigy they had found beside him served as a distinguished gravestone, a marker that stood out as somewhat special among the rows of similar swords marking neighboring plots. No one spoke, not even in whispers. There was nothing to say. Oh, hold on. There's a picture of one of the Arendian setups there. Yep, lots of swords. Okay. Miller awoke the next day to a thunderous shaking and rattling of the earth, a far cry from the playful nudging of the previous day. She strained to adjust her eyes, but the choking sting of stirred-up dust caused her to flinch. Panic was also in the air. The sound of scurried footsteps and clattering feet filled the space around her. But even in alarm, the silence was louder. What was it that sounded so strange? Miller closed her eyes tight and used her feet to guide her along the passage. The whispers around her were getting louder, and intense voices could be heard ahead, louder speech than she had ever heard spoken in the canyon. A growing dread grew as Miller approached the mouth of the cave, her eyes now open wide despite the dust. Shouldn't it be day? Miller felt a hand in the darkness, pulling at her. It was Ravia. The two embraced, and Miller did not need to see her to understand. Ravia placed two bent fingers against Miller's cheek, and with that touch against her face, Miller felt the same sinking feeling from the previous day. Two bent fingers confirmed what Miller had suspected. The girls had forgotten to relay one critical piece of information to the others. They forgot to mention that, yeah, there were the blackguard nearby, I'm betting, and with the carriage noise, they probably got heard. Yep. An hour or so later, the screams began, blood-curdling cries of hopeless desperation. Captain Foderick Lee of the Blackguard looked down from the ridge of the canyon to the collapsed entrance of the cave. Ah, he grinned. Now they speak. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So does that... What do I do with this? What do I do with this info? Does this unlock curse mode, or does... I thought I had heard that something with this had unlocked curse mode, or maybe this tells me how to unlock curse mode? I'm really thinking now I need to bring a club to the outside treasure cove and see if I can't open that chest. I wonder if there'd be an effigy in it then. I'm so not sure. Right. That took a lot longer than I thought. Shoot, I really need to wrap this up and get to bed here soon. But that said, I'm so confused right now. Maybe I misread something. Maybe that where I had seen that made me think about it, that was how curse mode was activated. I either was wrong or misread something or I'm remembering something incorrectly. I don't know. Let's just move along and see what we can find, I guess. Alright. Ooh. That's standard? I hardly ever see it. Let's move this to commonplace right now just because I do want to increase that. Let's move this to... I am not aware of any use for this. I'm gonna... It is purely a dead end as far as I know. I'm not aware of any secrets. Should I put it to rare? I'm gonna regret this later, probably. I don't know. That's commonplace. I'm gonna leave that there because the Nook is handy. Courtyard, sure. First reading might be worth it, given that we've already gotten a few green rooms. If we get some more, we'll be good. Go this way now and work towards the edge here, so better chance of that sort of thing. And the commissary is immediately going to derail that plan. Alright. Sure, I'll take all that. There you go. Might as well. I didn't need the parlor. I've already gotten quite a few things, but I've already got a good number of gems, but we'll see. Gems are in the black box, gems are in the white box. Well, both of those can't be true. This statement is true, the above statement is false. That's a weird one. There is not an empty box, the gems are not in the black box. There has to be an empty box. Gems are not in the black box. You know what? I don't even know. We're just gonna do it. Nope. Oh well. It's late and I'm a little too tired to be doing logic puzzles just this second. Patio. vault. Don't have a real reason for the vault though right now. Let's do that. Tunnel here would be interesting, but help me at all. Bedroom here. Connects that. Opens that. Yeah. Right. Or maybe all the doors are always unlocked. Let's get that. Good. Yeah, I can work with that. That would end that passage and mostly my run, but let's do it for now because I can still go down that other way. Plus, it gives me progress on this task. 13, 9, restore 5, minus 20, negative 15. Wait, no, that's times 4, not times 4. 9 times 4, 9, 18, 27, 36, minus 20, 16. Okay, that makes more sense. 1, 3, 0, 0, 2 is 2. Alright. Negative 1, negative 10, plus 11 is 1, squared is still 1. Alright. Interesting layout there. Solve that puzzle, did that, got that. Anything else I can get out of this run? Anything I can get out of this run? No, of course. Okay. Gems. They all ended up here. Nice. Is that. And this way. Okay, I'm going to do this for one reason. It's probably too late for that, though. No, because I took so long reading. Never mind. That won't work. I was thinking this would be a good way to. There's one of the trophies is to get into the antechamber, or not the antechamber. Room 46. Within Was it 40 in under an hour? I'm guessing that means an hour real time because it'd be hard to do it in game time, given even how because the time moves real quick there. But I'm gonna test this if I can. I don't know if I have enough steps to, but it's worth an experiment here. Of now that I've done that, that's open. Now I just have to go to Sanctum, open that, and get in there. It's probably too late, but I want to try it, just on the off chance that I'm actually doing fast enough on this. But I think we took too long because of all the reading, which was worth it still. Yeah, we can definitely work with that. Kitty, please. No. No, no climbing the lap. Thank you. You're a good kitty. Alright. So weird. Whole place. This whole place is weird, I guess. But, what else am I missing? Anything else? Anything at all? Save me some steps. Especially since I actually have the card right now. If I just go out the top here, we should be good. Been a while since I made it to room 46. Yeah, I didn't get here in time for the 1 hour thing. Oh well. I still have that blessing for this last day. Alright. Well, I think our main goal here then is to call it a day here. One, because I need to call it a night, and we're out of options for the most part. But if I call it a day here, I get the antechamber out there, and that I think will give me something. I'm not 100% sure what. Especially since I'll probably have to open it out there still, just like I would do in here. But I'm kind of curious how it will all play out. But I'm betting it gives me something out of this mid, like just how like it pops up and gives me the basement key. I'm betting it gives me something different out there, and that might be important for figuring out some of what we're currently trying to figure out. Alright, save and quit. I will check something here before we do anything else. Before I close this down. Check profile. Do this. Request. Dare mode. Okay, yep, no, nothing, no other options. So we have not unlocked curse mode yet, whatever that is, and how it's done. I'm betting it is tied to that treasure trove outside and then having to open it the right way. I'm betting I need a weapon, like a mace or the sledge in order to open the chest. Maybe not, but that's my thoughts. Since I think that's what the book was hinting at, is that it's going to be an old chest like this, and it won't have a key. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just throwing out theories, but I don't think I properly got there. I don't think I got back there to it with a sledgehammer or anything in hand, so I don't think I ever tested that, because I didn't think about it. At the time, that's on my list of goals now. Alright. Well, everyone, I need to call it a night. So, like I said, good night. Comments below what you guys think. Interesting stuff. Now we need to get new clue read. That's our next goal for the library. But I'm glad we were able to make some steps, at least, towards some things. And we're definitely discovering new things. I just haven't figured out how to put them together yet. But hit like, hit subscribe if you're new here and haven't done so to keep up with new releases. Thanks so much for watching. Good night. Bye.